Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Michelle, and today I'm going to be reviewing Allies by Alan Gratz. Before I get into this video, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and that like button, and let's start talking about Allies. So this book is about the Nazis terrorizing Europe, taking over most of Europe. And there are four main protagonists in this book. We have Dee, Samira, James, and Henry. And I'm going to start off by talking about Dee because that's where the book starts. And that's who the book starts talking about in the beginning. And the book also starts on D-Day. And D-Day is supposed to be a really big day for the soldiers fighting against the Nazis. And today is the day that they're supposed to be stopping them from terrorizing Europe. And it's a really big day, and so Dee is really nervous. And he's a U.S. soldier, but Dee has a big secret too, and that's another one of his worries. He's actually secretly German, and he has a best friend, and his best friend is always talking about how much he hates the Germans, and how he just wants to kill them all. And this makes Dee kind of nervous, because what happens when Dee tells his best friend that he himself is a German, but how does he make his best friend understand that he didn't like Hitler at all, and that's why his family moved to America when Dee was so young. He was only a few years old when his parents decided to move to America because they weren't liking what Hitler was doing. And Dee doesn't really know how he's going to break the news to his best friend. And yeah, he's nervous for D-Day, but he's even more nervous about losing his best friend, and he's not sure about how he's going to break the news to him. And then there's Samira. And Samira, she unfortunately lost her father. Her father was a spy for the Renaissance, and her father got shot. He got caught spying on the Nazis, so he got shot and killed immediately. She never saw him again. And her mom is now a spy as well for the Renaissance, and she kind of is a spy for them as well. She helps out her mom, really. That's why she's technically a spy herself. And one night, her mom and her are out in the woods so they have a curfew, and if they're out after the curfew, then they get shot. They get killed immediately. Unless they have like a valid reason for being out after curfew. And her and her mom obviously don't have a valid reason, so they had to make up one that Samira was terribly sick and that she needed to see a doctor immediately. And that was their story. That was going to be their cover story. But Samira's mom sees this woman who's trying to run away from the Nazis with her children, and she wants to help that woman because she's struggling and she's gonna get caught. And Samira doesn't want her mom to do it. Samira's mom tells her to stay behind in case something happens. And Samira's mom does get taken away by the Nazis, along with the woman and her kids that she was trying to save. But that family had a dog, and that dog came to Samira, and that dog ends up helping Samira actually in this book. And Samira is obviously, so terrified, and her mom just got taken away and she's going to be shot the next morning, and so she's figuring out, how do I save my mom? And she goes to the Renaissance to ask them for help. They're not very helpful, but she's trying to find any way to help her mom. And so that's what's going on with Samira. And then we have James, and James is also a U.S. soldier, and what's happening is they're being dropped from parachutes onto the grounds of Europe. And he's in parachute number 1, which means he gets dropped first. There's a lot of things that could go wrong. Everyone's kind of saying their goodbyes when he's on the parachute, and he's like, you guys really aren't making me feel any better. And then they get dropped, and that's what's happening with James. And they actually got dropped like really far away from where they were actually supposed to be dropped, where their location was, around like 7, 8, 10 miles away from the actual location, and James and his friend have to go walk to the location, and yeah, that's what's going on with James. And lastly, we have Henry, and Henry is a black medic, and he chose this job, and he's obviously he's qualified for this job, but during this time, people were racist, really racist, and there were a lot of unfair laws going on at that time. And so whenever soldiers needed help, they didn't really trust Henry, or they wanted a white doctor because they thought that Henry wasn't capable of helping them out, that Henry was only there to make things worse. And really during this time there isn't any time to be wasted. If you have a medic, you have to trust them with all of you, because you can't just request another medic who's saving another soldier's life just because you don't trust the medic you have since they're black. That doesn't make any sense. But that's what the soldiers do, and it's really unfair for Henry, and Henry is trying to be the best person he can and ignore all of this, and he's really trying to show people that he's qualified to be a medic. And that is what's going on in this book. It's a very exciting book. I definitely recommend this book. It was really exciting. Kind of all over the place with each of these characters, but really interesting overall. So if you guys want to check out this book, you can. My rating for this book would definitely be a 9 out of 10. It was such a great book, and the author did a great job of keeping me on the edge of my seat during the whole book. So great book, and really all 4 of these main protagonists are working to stop the Nazis. So will they be able to do it? Will D-Day be a successful day? Read the book to find out. And if you guys want to get this book, then make sure you check out the description box below. I will leave the links for Amazon, Google Books, Barnes & Nobles. If you click on the link for Google Books on the bottom right corner of your screen, it'll show the nearest libraries that this book is available at. And yeah, that's all I have to say about Allies. And as you guys know, in every single one of my book reviews, I have a sneak peek where I show you guys what the next book I'm going to be reviewing looks like. And here's what it looks like. It's called Parachutes, and it's by Kelly Yang. And I love this author a lot. I don't know if you guys have heard of her, but she's a very famous writer. And so if you guys are excited for this book review, then make sure you check out my page. I post every Sunday, and I will see you guys next Sunday with a new video. Bye, guys. Also, happy late Thanksgiving.